Welcome everybody to Strategy Now here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. Here to see what the strategies that are being deployed. Let's check out what's going on here in the midday. Now the major averages right now are in the green, with the NASDAQ up 41.75 at 47.80.25. You have the S&P futures up 11.5 at 2203.50, so we're above that psychological 2200 level. You have the Dow Jones up 53 at 19,210, so staying above that 19,000 level on the Dow Jones, and the Russell 2000, the leader, up $21.50 at 1334.80. Now the equity indices basically have enjoyed the upside for most of the trading session so far, and that's in light of the referendum that was shut down in Italy. For those of you that aren't familiar with what's going on over in Italy, you can check out our overnight action report where we talk about it in more detail. But basically, the Italian voters were put forth with a referendum by their Prime Minister Renzi that basically they wanted to consolidate the powers of the Senate. Well, the electorate voted no. The pollsters were actually right this time, but where they weren't as right is that basically 60% of the Italian voters came in and said no. That was a larger than expected no turnout. That has put this referendum, really why it's so important, has put the EU a little bit more on watch what's going to happen with this new government, because Prime Minister Renzi said that if this did not pass, he was going to resign. Well, he's staying true to his word. He resigned this morning, which means that there is no Prime Minister of Italy right now. So we have some political uncertainty in Europe, and that could grow overall in the continent post what we saw that happened with the Brexit vote. But the market's been holding up in general. You actually see the Italian markets are holding up. They closed higher today with EWI right now, which is the ETF that tracks Italy. It's up slightly, about 20 cents at 22.29 this morning. And we see that the EU bonds have been pulling back across the board. So that safety trade that we saw later last week is pulling off. And so we're right now seeing that while Europe now knows the news, they voted no in Italy, there still could be some potentially large volatility coming from that continent. So we want to stay on watch. Go take a look at how we tackle all of that overnight action from Europe as well as Asia. In our overnight action report, we give a ton of ideas there. But European stocks have held up across the board now. Let's take a look at the United States and take a look at what's happening in the first half of this session. The cyclical sectors right now are responsible for today's advance. If you look at the heavily weighted groups like the financials, up 0.9%. Consumer discretionary names are up about 1.1%. And technology is up 0.9%. So if you have exposure in your portfolio to those areas, you're seeing that your portfolio in general is doing quite well. What's also trading ahead of the broad market, and the S&Ps, the NASDAQ, and so forth, is the energy sector, specifically, and that's up 1.3%. And if you take a look at crude continues to amaze. It is trading up about 0.4%. It's coming off its highs. It got above $52 this morning on the open, but it's trading at $51.89 a barrel. That's the West Texas contract, up about 0.4%. But an impressive move in the crude contract. And we want to see if that continues, especially with the weakness in the U.S. dollar that we've seen. That could continue. Now, the industrial sector is unchanged, and that's been pretty much the laggard of all of the offensive sectors that I want to see on the move to the upside. Now, the Dow component, GE, has been probably the biggest laggard, down about 14 cents, and that's been contributing to the underperformance of this industrial sector. Now, transport stocks also are not helping the cause for further upside. You see that there is also weakness, notable weakness in the airlines, and the airlines have been pretty strong for the last couple weeks. Names like Air Alaska, ticker symbol ALK, down $2.47. Southwest Airlines, ticker symbol LUV, down 75 cents. And United Continental, down $1.04 at 68.23. And United Machinists, and they finally had some talks that were finally completed. They have some new contracts with some of their labor unions, and still the stock is down. And so you universally are seeing these stocks down between 1.5% and 2.9%. That is a little bit of a concern, especially if we would like to see those transports really moving to the upside. On the counter-cyclical side, take a look at utilities. They're down about 0.7%, and it's basically spent the first half of today's session in the red, along with healthcare. Healthcare is down about 0.2%. You're seeing that biotech. There's most likely some profit taking coming up here in this sector. IBB is the biotech ETF. We want to see if that continues in some choice names. But if you look at IBB, the ETF, it's been holding up very well. That's helping the NASDAQ as well as just the biotech sector alone. And that's actually up $2.72 at 273.18, and that's up by 1%. I want to see if it can hold on to those gains because we've seen some mixed results. There's also some merger and acquisition components that have been coming out in this space. We want to see if that continues and maybe could spurn this to the upside because it has been challenged last week. Treasuries finally, well, they've been seeing some sharp losses since they were bid most of the overnight session. They have come off of their lows from the price action that we saw overnight and into the opening, but we do have the 10-year benchmark right now coming in down 1 basis points at 2.38%. So we want to see if treasuries start to weaken again now that we have at least some more clarity with the vote, but we don't have clarity into the political instabilities that could be occurring with Italy. So with that being said, that wraps up strategy now and what we're seeing here in the midday. We're going to be talking charts and option pricing to give us some transparency into the price action at 3:30 Eastern time on Tech Talk. Come check us out. If you can't check us out at 3:30 Eastern, we always have those recorded at MarketStream.live. All you have to do is go to MarketStream.live and you can check out all of these different segments. They're recorded there for you, absolutely free. And I'm telling you right now, there is no one else talking about the markets like we do here at MarketStream.live. So please join us. We'll be back online at 3:30 Eastern time live. See you then.